to rock the night in Athens, Georgia. The fans welcome their team home for the first time in 42 days. A night filled with anticipation because the Alpha Dog is back. It's a homecoming of sorts, too, for Nick Marshall, back where his college career began, but at a different position and a different uniform. The Bulldogs, the Tigers, East meets West as the Deep South's oldest rivalry set for another go-round next. 92,000 plus between the hedges tonight as 9th-ranked Auburn travels here into Athens to take on the 15th-ranked Bulldogs of Georgia. As you take a look at the standings in the East and West, Mississippi State has lost for the first time. Alabama now on top there. Auburn knows they've got to keep winning and hope for a 3- or 4-way tie. It's a little more simple for Georgia right now. Win tonight and hope that Missouri stubs its toe somewhere, maybe even at Texas A&M as early as a half an hour from now. Welcome, everybody. Brad Nessler along with Todd Blackledge. Great setting tonight and the return of Todd Gurley from a 4-game NCAA suspension. And partner, from what we've seen and heard from the coaches in practice this week, he's chomping at the muzzle to get out there.
Absolutely. And you know, of all the games that we've covered this year, he's the single most dominant player that I've watched all season. Now, he's no longer in the Heisman conversation because of the suspension, but make no mistake, he is a premier player in college football. He's rested, he's energetic, he's got a huge chip on his shoulder, and I expect that he will play a great ball game tonight because right now his focus is to try to get his team to Atlanta.
And we talked about Nick Marshall coming back. He's a Georgia native. He's the guy running the show for the Tigers.
Interesting subplot for Nick Marshall. The last time he played a game in this stadium, he was a defensive back for this Georgia team in 2011. Dismissed from the team a few weeks after that. Went to junior college. Now in his second season as the starting quarterback for Auburn, and he has had a brilliant career playing on the offensive side of the ball.
These two teams have been getting together since 1892, and it's just one of those nights where you feel like something special is going to happen.
Absolutely. Two outstanding offenses, particularly when it comes to running the football. I expect a high-scoring shootout in the game tonight.
I mentioned it's been almost a month and a half since the fans in Sanford Stadium have seen their team at home. And they are geared up for what should be a dandy tonight. And here come the Dogs. It doesn't get any closer than this series. 118th meeting tonight. And Auburn right now has a 1-game lead in the all-time series, courtesy of a thrilling 5-pointer a year ago.
Murray wants to throw for the end zone. He's got a man there, and it's caught. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Well, hang it up in the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown in the end zone. Murray looks. Now he runs. He will run. And Murray, I think he got there. Yeah!
Marshall steps up. He's going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped up. And Lewis caught on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown, Auburn. A miracle in Jordan-Hare.
The prayer in Jordan-Hare ended that one. We can only hope it's that good tonight. Before we kick this one off, we check in with a third member of our team, Holly Rowe.
Well, big news that Todd Gurley is back tonight, and his head coach, Mark Richt, told us that not one single time did he ever hear Todd talk to him about maybe just calling it quits and getting ready for the NFL. He wanted to be part of this team and return to help his team. In fact, after a road trip without him, he texted his coaches and said, I will be at practice on Monday. Put me on the scout team if that will help. His offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo, said there's been a lot of talk about how many touches he might get tonight. He said one of his assistant coaches showed him a clip on YouTube of all of Gurley's greatest runs and he said, hey, let's not forget what we have back there. Let's just give him the damn ball.
Well, we asked Mark Richt, are you worried that he might be a little too excited? He said, nope, the more amped up he is, the better he plays. Mark in his 14th year here in Athens. Gus Malzahn in his second season. They're the defending SEC champions. Came up just a little short in the national championship game a year ago to Florida State. Auburn won the toss, and they want the football. So Marshall Morgan's got it teed up, and Corey Grant and Ricardo Lewis will be back on the other end. Here we go. The kick will carry to the 1-yard line to Corey Grant. And he's got a seam. Ooh, knocked down at the 30 here. Might have been gone. Malcolm Parrish, a freshman on the special teams, made what could have been a touchdown-saving hit right there.
You're right. Outstanding return, and if it weren't for that hit, he might have still been running and only had the kicker to elude.
So here's the senior from Pineview, Georgia. And if you ask Nick where Pineview is, he says out in the middle of nowhere. Quite a player. And again, a former Bulldog. I'd say the crowd is ready. First down, Tigers from their own 30. Quick swing pass out to Rock Thomas. And Thomas got about 4. Jordan Jenkins planted him there. And Auburn, as they normally do without a huddle, up to the line in a hurry. Second down and 6. Cameron Artis-Payne, the leading rusher in the conference behind Marshall, but he's going to flare it out again, this time to Ricardo Lewis. They use Ricardo in a lot of different ways. He picked up 3 more. And Leonard Floyd, who didn't play much and didn't play very effectively a week ago, in on the hit.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd's had a shoulder problem the entire season, and it's really kind of bothering him. He's tried to play through it. He's a very talented guy, but he's not been 100% all season.
55% on their third down conversions. And part of that's because they always seem to end up with about a 3rd and 2.
Yep.
And that's what they've got right here.
Well, and it's always a run-pass option, and when you got a guy like Marshall, very dangerous to contain him.
He'll throw for it. 3 swing passes in a row, and they're going to get the first down. That's Rock Thomas, the freshman, knocked out of bounds, but he picks up the first.
Interesting. 3 plays in a row, as you mentioned, swing passes, and 2 of the 3 were actually laterals thrown behind the receiver. But good execution on the first 3 plays. Again, Gus Malzahn wanted to get off to a better start, both offensively and defensively tonight, than they did a week ago.
And they have, with a first down at the 43. Lewis in motion, they fake it to him, and it's Marshall who'll get the carry, and he got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. The Dogs knock him back, but he'll get about a half-yard out of it.
You mentioned their third down efficiency. It's critical when you play defense against Auburn. You've got to get some stops for 0 yardage or negative yardage on first down to put them a little bit behind the sticks. If you don't, if they continue to be efficient on first down and get 6 or 7 yards, they're almost impossible to slow down offensively.
That's what Georgia did there, because it's second down and about 9.5 right here. Marshall, play action. Deep middle, high, and almost picked off back there. And Dominic Sanders, a freshman, had his hands on it.
And good pass rush by Jordan Jenkins. He actually got a hit on Nick Marshall, took Nick Marshall to the ground at the end of the throw. And it brings up a third down and long. And this is where Georgia's defense has the advantage. They're very good at pressuring the quarterback in third down situations.
Third down and 9. They're coming after Marshall here. He gets the pass away, and this one's caught. Uzama with a first down catch.
Uzama playing out wide some tonight because of the absence of Duke Williams. He did this last year. He's listed as a tight end, but he has wide receiver skills, and he used that big body to go up and catch the high throw away from the defender.
And they pick up 12 on 3rd and 9 and into Georgia territory. It's 44-yard line. Opening drive of the game for Auburn, and they've moved it from their own 30 to the Georgia 44. And finally, the leading rusher in the conference, Cameron Artis-Payne, gets a carry as we take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players. Cameron Artis-Payne, one of them. Sammy Coates has got to pick up that slack from Duke Williams. Lorenzo Carter had a huge game last week for Georgia, and Damian Swan's probably the best cover guy in the Georgia secondary. Second down and 5. Blitz coming off the corner. Artis-Payne takes it the other way. Got a couple. I don't think he's going to have the first down, but it's closer now that I look at it. And maybe he did get it the first down on that one.
Well, if not, 3rd and short. And again, right in the wheelhouse for this Auburn offense. They're efficient. They average right around 7 yards per play on first down. And they stay ahead of the sticks. They dictate the game by being efficient on first and second down.
They've got about the length of the football to go here on third down. And Marshall will do it himself. And he got the first, and he got a bunch more. Pickup of 9 before Corey Moore knocks him down.
Not sure if this is a read or a design quarterback run to get out on the perimeter. One of the best parts of this Auburn offense is their ability to run outside the tackles, and Nick Marshall, a big part of that. And that's also been one of the weaknesses for this Georgia defense, is defending runs outside the tackles on the perimeter.
School record for the quarterbacks for Auburn in 100-yard games. Artis Payne follows his blockers beautifully, heads to the sideline and the end zone. Touchdown, Auburn. You talk about the fast start they wanted, they got it.
Well, they got a great block by Slade, the guard, Ricardo Lewis, the wide receiver, and again, outside the tackles. This Georgia defense was hurt by Florida a couple weeks ago when the Gators ran for over 400 yards, and Auburn gets them on the perimeter 2 plays in a row, that one for a touchdown.
Carlson in for the point after. And a quiet crowd at Sanford Stadium right now. Cameron Artis Payne, leading rusher in the conference. His 10th score on the ground, capping a 70-yard drive in 10 plays. Tigers' quick start in Athens. So Carlson to kick. Will he kick it to him? He will. Todd Gurley 5 yards deep, and here he comes. And Todd Gurley might be gone. Flag is down as Gurley heads to the end zone. But is it all coming back? Without the penalty, could you have drawn up a return any more dramatic?
Well, there's 38 right in the middle. Whether there was a hold or not, there's the hold. There's the grab on the jersey. Ryan Rankin, number 38. But make no mistake, number 3 is back.
It just makes you smile that a play like that could happen, but they're going to have to earn it now as it comes back to the 22-yard line. And Todd's on the sideline for the upcoming first snap because I'm sure that took a little wind out of his sails.
Yeah, I would have thought the first play would have been a play-action fake to him and a deep throw, but with that kickoff return, he's got to get his wind back here after one play.
Well, Nick Chubb, who's done a great job in his absence, gets the carry. And Chubb doing what he's done for the 4 games that Gurley's been out.
Nick Chubb not quite as big as Todd Gurley, but a very heavy runner in the words of Mike Bobo. He's a hard guy to tackle. He runs with great leverage and low pad level. And you're right. I mean, in Todd Gurley's absence, I don't know that Georgia could have asked for anything better than what they got from Nick Chubb. The lowest number of yards he gained in any of those 4 games was 143.
He got 11 on the first touch of the night for him. Quick throw out to Chris Conley. Conley got a nice block, and he got the edge. And he's out to midfield and now into Tiger territory down to the 47-yard line.
Beautiful block by Bennett, the other wide receiver out there in front of him. We're going to see right now something we saw in practice. That's Chubb and Gurley in the backfield together. They've not shown this, obviously, for the last few weeks because Gurley was on suspension. They've got a couple different things they do.
And it's Chubb, the fullback in this case, for about a yard. We haven't even talked about Hudson Mason yet because of the running backs and the kickoff returns and the Auburn offense. But this guy's had a really stellar season. He takes care of the football beautifully.
His one time to be the starting quarterback, and it was interesting talking to him yesterday. He said he thinks he kind of put too much pressure on himself a little bit.
To be perfect.
Yep.
Now they're telling him just let it rip. You only got 4 or 5 games left in your career. This one's low, incomplete, intended for Towns, and Mason hit after he threw.
The thing about the Georgia offense, now we won't see it on this third down play, but their play action passing game is really effective because of how well they've run the football. Auburn is the #1 rushing team in the SEC. Georgia is the 2nd best rushing team.
Georgia's not afraid to run on 3rd and long either. Gurley's in there. 3 receivers to Mason's right. And look at the eyes of Todd Gurley, waiting to see who he's going to have to pick up on the rush. And Mason's going deep. Man there. Got him. No, he dropped it. McKenzie had it. It would have been a touchdown. And Mason knows it, and so does McKenzie.
Well, it was a 0 coverage. Full blitz. The corner blitz was picked up by Gurley. They got McKenzie, their fast slot receiver, matched up on the safety Whitehead. And that's a touchdown all the way if McKenzie can just grab the football. Good read, good blitz pickup. Just didn't execute the catch.
Adam Erickson is in to punt. The punting game has been a sore spot for Georgia all season long. And their punting game has been not the greatest this year. It's a little better kick. At least it hangs it up there, and he dropped it. And Georgia's got it, I think. Lucas Red was the first guy down there that appeared to have covered it. And finally we get the official signal. Georgia ball.
Well, I think what happened too is Damian Swan, #5, was the first guy down the field, and I think he distracted Quan Bray. Bray called for the fair catch, and watched Damian Swan just cross in front of his face, and I think that little bit of a distraction created the turnover.
So a break goes Georgia's way on special teams. At the 19-yard line. So an opportunity here in the red zone. Mason trying to quiet the crowd down on 1st down. Todd Gurley cuts it outside, puts his hand on the ground to keep his balance, and he made 11 yards out of what I thought was going to be nothing.
Yeah. You know, one of the amazing stats about Todd Gurley before the suspension is he was hit at or the line of scrimmage or behind it 25 times, and yet still averaged over 4 yards per carry on those runs. That's a perfect example. Hit behind the line, still got a positive gain.
1st and goal. Gurley put a stiff arm in Gabe Wright, but Gabe Wright at 285 pounds brought him down. And right around the 7. That's what Todd was just talking about.
I mean, it's, 4 yards for any offense is considered a win on a run play.
Yeah.
And he was doing that while being hit at or behind the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and goal at the 7. 2 tight ends out there. Quavon Hicks, one of them, just backed up into a fullback position in front of Gurley. Mason's going to throw a fade to the corner. Conley had his hands on it and couldn't hold it.
Well, that's 2 now. 2 passes put in the right place by Hudson Mason that could have been touchdowns for Georgia. Conley has kind of fallen back. The ball's thrown away from the defender, and he got both hands on it.
Jonathan Jones was covering, and he got up and looked like he was a little shaken after going up in the air with Conley. Jones is the guy that leads Auburn in interceptions with 5.
Wouldn't be surprised to see him try to throw the ball to Gurley on this 3rd down play down here inside the 10.
3rd and goal. Mason fires a slant. Got him. Mitchell, touchdown. Malcolm Mitchell just rounding back into form. And we're an extra point away from a tie game. Marshall Morgan in for the point after. Up and good. 2:15 remaining in the first quarter. And after the fumble recovery on the punt, Malcolm Mitchell, who had a touchdown catch last week, gets another here tonight. Number 16 for Hudson Mason. 7 up in Athens. Auburn 7, Georgia 7. Let's take a look at how Georgia's finding success. Brought to you by Expedia. Todd.
Well, they found it with formation. First of all, Georgia's going to put 3 wide receivers over on this side of the field. And what that's going to do is cause this safety to just go over enough to give this slant route room. It opened that window just enough by moving the safety slightly off the hash. That window was open enough for Hudson Mason. He had to throw it on time, but he threw it with timing and accuracy, and Malcolm Mitchell got the touchdown.
Tell you that was a little kitchen window. That wasn't a big bay window.
It was a little window.
Yeah. Look out for that guy too. Number 4, Quan Bray, one of the better return men in the country. This one's too deep though. Nice kick by Morgan. This time he's going to keep it himself. Heading to the sideline. Georgia stretches it out pretty well, but he's still got about 5 yards before Aaron Davis ran him out of bounds.
Interesting to see where Nick Marshall was going to look to throw the football on third downs without Duke Williams. That was kind of his security blanket on third down. He's hit Uzama for a big third down conversion, and that last one he hit Sammy Coates.
I don't think they're going to get another playoff before the end of the quarter here. And a good quarter it was. Auburn started strong, scored first. Georgia had some big plays called back, but then after a fumbled punt, they scored as well. And in the first 15 minutes, we're tied at 7. Well, here after a quarter, Georgia and Auburn tied. Todd Gurley staying warm over there on the bike. It is a very cool night in Athens. I don't know there's that many warm places in the country right now. Looked really toasty in Minneapolis today for the Gophers in Ohio State. We open the quarter with Auburn at the Georgia 48-yard line. 2nd down and 6. Ricardo Lewis in motion. Marshall to throw, and he throws it in the ground. Lewis was the intended receiver. Damian Swan was coming on a corner blitz, and Marshall had to get rid of that one before he wanted to.
Well, another third down situation for Nick Marshall.
He's hit 3 different guys on third down so far.
It's interesting. Rhett Lashley said, you know, without Duke Williams, it might end up being a little bit of a blessing in disguise. We might spread the football around a little bit more in our passing game.
3rd and 16. They're going to throw a little slip screen out to the outside. Leonard Floyd was waiting for that one. He's still going to make the tackle, I think.
Great individual play by Floyd.
Got him twice. Didn't bring him down the first time.
He read the screen. It was a wide receiver screen. He read it from his outside linebacker position. And then he just kind of hung on and hoped for extra red jerseys to get there. He wasn't able to get Coates on the ground by himself, but he stayed with it and ended up getting the tackle at the end.
He had such a great season last year that he was a lot of people's preseason choice to be an All-American. But as Ledge said earlier, battling a shoulder injury all season long, he hasn't quite had the numbers. But he looks like he came to play tonight. Carlson to punt. Nice kick is going to chase McKenzie to the far side of the field. He'll have to just let it go. And it's going to stop right about where it bounced. 13:35 remaining first half. Georgia back on offense in a tie game when we come back.
All tied up in Athens on a bittersweet night for the Bulldogs quarterback Hudson Mason. You see, one of his best friends in the world, a fellow high school teammate, used to play for Auburn, Philip Lutzenkirchen. He said it's been a very eerie, weird week. All week he's been waiting for a text or a phone call from his friend who was killed in this offseason. He knows that Philip would have called him to say, hey, I'm cheering for you this weekend even though you're playing Auburn. Of course, Philip was such a huge part of this Auburn football team and football family. They miss him so much, but Hudson Mason, one of his high school friends, thinking of him wearing a baseball cap on the sideline with number 43 on the cap. He is close to Hudson Mason's heart as well as the Auburn fans tonight.
We all miss Philip Lutzenkirchen, that's for sure. Todd Gurley, nice opening ball came out at the end of the play, and I think he got back on top of it anyway. Robinson Therese in on the tackle, and Hudson Mason, just to wrap that story up, He was talking about Phillips' parents being at the game, and he said, I know they'll be wearing their Auburn colors, but, and his voice sort of trailed off, meaning I think they'll be cheering for me.
Yeah.
2nd down and 1.
Terrific story on game day by Tom Rinaldi today about Philip Luxton-Kirken's family and the mission that his father has taken on.
And if you missed that, you can see it on ESPN.com. Todd Gurley, 1st down.
You know, the only thing you worry about with Todd Gurley with that layoff, he obviously is in good shape, and he's done a great job of maintaining his cardiovascular conditioning, but he hasn't had any live hits.
Yeah.
So that ball security, it came out there on that 1st down play. That's the only concern you might have, is ball security, and Georgia has been great so far this season. Only 6 turnovers on the entire season coming into tonight.
Nick Chubb will take his place, and Nick Chubb will get the carry, and he is hard to bring down, and he's got a 1st down.
Well,
Dude runs over more guys than most people we see. We take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Nick Chubb, great job of Gurley, as we talked about. Chris Conley had a couple of touchdown catches last week. He's really coming on. Montrevious Adams, probably the best of the front wall for Auburn. And Casanova McKenzie, the reason we made him an impact player, he just showed you. He's a 250-pound middle linebacker that can move. They toss it to him here. Chubb follows his fullback. There goes 10 more. There goes 12 more. That's why he's one of our impact players tonight.
You know, what was cool about Nick Chubb is he was probably happier than anybody on this Georgia team about the return of Todd Gurley. I mean, he knew that that was the best thing for the team, and sharing the load, sharing the carries, you keep fresh legs at that tailback position.
And we haven't even mentioned Sony Michel, who's not going to play tonight, as Mason throws a strike to Michael Bennett.
See, that's what this play action offense can be. When you run the ball as well as Georgia has been able to run it, that play action is open. It's all up to Hudson Mason to throw the ball on time, and he's done that so far tonight. That was beautiful timing to convert.
1st down for the Dogs, just inside their own 43-yard line. Again, Chubb, the tailback in the eye. Quavon Hicks in front of him. There's a play fake. Mason wants a long one here. Deep ball, overshot everybody to the end zone. It was Chris Conley, the intended receiver.
Pretty good coverage that time. Safety coming over the top. Jonathan Ford, number 23, back there.
Reggie Davis comes in as a wide receiver for Georgia on 2nd and 10.
One of the guys who's back for Auburn that's helping this secondary out, Jermaine Whitehead, right here, number 35. He was a starter, a 3-year starter, suspended for 4 games, then came back and played only special teams.
Here's Chubb, broke a tackle. Chubb inside the 25, dragging Jermaine Whitehead with him to the sideline. Another 19 yards for the freshman.
Well, they have an unblocked guy. Watch Chris Frost, number 17. He's unblocked in the hole, but he can't get Chubb on the ground. I mean, it's a good defensive call. You've got a linebacker right there in the hole, and Nick Chubb just made him look silly and got the ball to the perimeter.
Nick goes 11, 12, and then 19, and now here comes Todd Gurley back in to the Georgia backfield. 1st down at the 18-yard line. And it's Gurley. And he bounces off a tackler and got 4. It was Anthony Swain, the linebacker, that got him down.
What Georgia's MO has been, other than the Florida game when they got behind and had to throw a lot more, has been to run and pound the ball at you and impose their will on you, particularly as it gets to the 3rd and 4th quarter.
They got McKenzie in there in the slot now on the left side, and he's a little lightning bolt, but this is going to be Gurley again for no gain.
Well, it's obvious that Auburn's defense is clued in to Todd Gurley. Now, they haven't been as clued in to Nick Chubb because Chubb has kind of run through their defense. But Todd Gurley has not had a lot of space when he's got the football.
Gurley comes out. Chubb goes back in. 3rd down and 7.
Here's that 3 wide receivers to the left where they tried to isolate Malcolm Mitchell. They got the isolation on the touchdown. He's down at the bottom of the screen, the single receiver.
And Conley is the guy to the top. Mason flushed out of the pocket. trying to extend the play, lobbed it down there. It's caught by Mitchell, but he's short of the first down. It'll be 4th down and 1.
Pretty good job by Hudson Mason extending the play, buying a little extra time.
Mark Richt's going to go for this. Nick Chubb in the backfield. Hudson Mason again trying to quiet the crowd, reacting to the fact that they were hoping the Dogs would go for it. Well, here they go. Georgia's 7 out of 9 on 4th down conversions. Everybody packed in tight, including Quavon Hicks. Maybe they're trying to make him draw him off sides. Nope, it's Chubb. And it's Nick Chubb to the end zone. Touchdown.
Greg Pike, the right guard, was moved out to the tight end position on this play. It was an unbalanced line, and he drove the linebacker all the way into the end zone, and Nick Chubb ran right up his back.
And if you saw a very excited number 61, that's the center, David Andrews, for Georgia, one of their captains and one of their leaders, showing how fired up they were to go on 4th and 1. Their coach had faith. Nick Chubb came through. 9-yard touchdown.
Greg Pike is right here. He's normally the right guard. He is going to block the linebacker right up into the end zone, and Nick Chubb is going to run right behind him. 73 gets on his man, and Nick Chubb runs right on his left hip into the end zone. The Georgia coaches told us they thought that Greg Pike was going to be a great, great player. He paved the way, and there's David Andrews, the leader, not only the offensive line, they think he's the top leader on this football team.
Georgia with its first lead now with 8:48 remaining in the half. Corey Grant and Ricardo Lewis wait on the other end. Ricardo Lewis from the 2. Not going to make it to the 20. Nice job by the Bulldogs special teams. Play action. And the ball with Artis Payne. Well, that was some sleight of hand right there. He picks up about 7.
You mentioned the circuitous route that Cameron Artis Payne has taken to get to Auburn. Started at Harrisburg High School in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Milford Academy in New Berlin, New York for a year of prep school. Then Allen Hancock Junior College out in Santa Maria, California, and now Auburn, Alabama.
He's seen a lot of the country.
Yes, he has.
He's the 18th different Auburn back to go over 1,000 yards in a season. He'll get it again. Runs smacky into Ramik Wilson. Here's what we were talking about. 5'10", 5'11", 210-pound senior. Todd mentioned 3,412 rushing yards and 43 touchdowns in 2 years in junior college. And yet another 1,000-yard back. 9 career 100-yard rushing games. He's had a really fine season.
The 6th time tonight for Auburn that they've had 3rd down and 3 or less. I mean, that is high percentage stuff.
And this is the quarterback all the way. Marshall is going to go down before he can even get to the line of scrimmage. Marlo Herrera again in on the tackle.
All 3 linebackers. Herrera was there first, followed by Ramik Wilson, and then Leonard Floyd. Watch all 3 of them converge on Nick Marshall. Herrera's there first. Here comes Ramik, and there's Leonard Floyd. Excellent team defense that time by Georgia on 3rd down.
So punting situation. Not sure why McKenzie's not back for Georgia. It's Reggie Davis back as the punt returner for the Bulldogs. Carlson, who does all the kicking chores for Auburn. Lazy punt that's going to take an Auburn bounce. They could hit one of their players.
That hit an Auburn player. Should be dead around the 18-yard line.
I think it was Ike Powell, the snapper, who got down there. And that is where they're going to put it down.
after Todd Gurley's last carry. He ran off the field dangling his left arm. He had it examined by the Director of Athletic Medicine, Ron Corson, and they have fitted him with a big brace on that left elbow. It looks like he is able to return. But, guys, this is a big deal because Sony Michel, the other running back, taped up his left ankle, tried to go pregame and could not go. So he's out. We'll see how Gurley's able to respond with that left brace on his elbow.
All right, so Todd Gurley back out there looking like RoboCop on that side of his body at the tailback spot. First down, Georgia. There's the play action. Here comes the deep ball that Todd called. Man's there. Got it. Chris Conley. Nope. He dropped it.
Jonathan Jones in coverage. Beautiful job at the end of the play. That's a couple deep balls now we've seen. Opportunities for big plays that Georgia not able to come down with. Conley dropped one in the end zone. And this looks like another ball that Conley should have been able to corral. He had it, but credit Jonathan Jones for not giving up on the play, fighting to the very end and being able to rip that ball out.
And Hudson Mason's grabbed his helmet like that 3 times because he's had 3 drops that should have been caught. This time he keeps it for a pickup of a couple. He doesn't run much. He's not a bad runner, but that's not Georgia's offense. Not when you got the tailbacks they have. So Gurley comes back out. So does McKenzie. Haven't really got into McKenzie's hands offensively, though he had a long ball that would have been a touchdown, and he let it slip through his fingers.
He's a matchup problem because he's very fast, and as a slot, he's usually going to get a safety in coverage.
He's in a slot on the right side on 3rd down and 8. Mason throws, and it's intercepted. No, it's dropped. Might have gotten lucky there. That was Trevon Reed, who had a better play on the ball than the receiver did.
Well, Trevon Reed used to be a receiver himself. He's moved to defensive back, and he read this throw of Hudson Mason and cut right underneath the intended receiver, Reggie Davis, and almost came away with an interception.
Reggie did a pretty nice job of becoming the defensive back on that one to get a hand in there. So Colin Barber to punt.
Too many dropped ball opportunities for Georgia in this game so far.
That's for sure.
You know, Auburn is a team that can explode on you offensively, and you can't let too many of those chances go by the wayside.
Oh, and a punt that almost was blocked, and the flag comes down. They're going to rough the punter here, and he's just so lucky he got that off. He's not feeling too good about it right now.
I don't know how he did get it off. I mean, that looked like an absolute sure block.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker.
Gray King was in there. And, you know, you tell these guys to go to the spot where you expect the ball to be, not at the foot of the punter. I mean, that should have been a clear block. He just didn't go to the right spot. If he goes a foot and a half out in front of the foot, he gets that block easily. Instead of getting the block, he gets the leg of the punter and gets the penalty and a new possession for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Colin Barber's lower leg took one for the team there, but he's happy about it even though he's limping around on the sideline. Georgia's got it at the 47-yard line after the penalty. Chubb, 2 guys bring him down after a short game this time, led by Jamel President.
When we were here for the Clemson game, we talked about the depth at this running back position with Todd Gurley and the 2 freshmen at that time, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, who we've not seen. And of course there was Keith Marshall, who has missed the last 6 games with ankle and knee injuries.
Bennett got a first down. Michael Bennett, senior out of Alpharetta, goes for 13.
Michael Bennett's had a really nice season this year. He's had injuries the last couple years. He stayed healthy this year, and he comes into the ballgame as the team's leading receiver.
Gurley back in. Chubb goes out from the 26. And it's Todd Gurley straight up the middle. About 12 before they bring him down.
Nice double team that time by Brandon Kubalo, the left guard, and David Andrews. Gurley runs right behind that. Kublano and Andrews with a nice double team. Power football.
Gurley goes down at the 10, maybe the 9. Anthony Swain made the stop. Thing to remember, depending on that elbow of Todd Gurley, he gets better in the second half.
Yes, he does.
11th play of the Bulldog drive here. 2nd down and 7. We approach 1 minute. They have 2 timeouts remaining.
Great leaders.
Mason throws it out to Gurley. Gets back to the 15. Pick up a 5. Gabe Wright sort of threw him down there and actually threw him forward for a couple of yards.
It's a good hustle play by Gabe Wright, because if Gabe Wright doesn't get there, Todd Gurley's probably going to get down there close to the first down. Excellent hustle play from an interior lineman, Gabe Wright, reading the screen and chasing it from the inside out.
Nick Chubb back in. 3rd down and 12. 3 receivers to Hudson Mason's left. And Malcolm Mitchell down to the bottom of the screen. Pump fake. And the throw to the corner. And bobbled and incomplete. Conley again had his hands on it. Jonathan Jones was there covering.
Jonathan Jones has had an outstanding season. Even though this secondary has given up a lot of yards passing, Jonathan Jones has been pretty consistent. Single coverage again, gets his right hand in there and just fights the ball out from Conley. A little bit of chicken fighting in there as the ball's in the air, but that's excellent work by Jonathan Jones. He found the ball with his eyes and he ripped it out with his right hand.
Marshall Morgan will try to put 3 more on the board from 32 yards away. Kick is up and good. And the half comes to a close. Georgia up 10 as we check in with Holly.
Well, Coach Rick, what stands out to you about having big number 3 Todd Gurley back for your offense?
Well, he's playing well, but so's Nick. I think everybody's blocking good. Defense is playing well. We've had some good special teams plays. Unfortunately, we had a couple penalties that hurt us, but the guys are playing hard right now.
You've had an aggressive mindset, the fake punt that didn't work because of the penalty, but then go for it on 4th and 1. How does that aggressive mindset set a tone?
Well, if you make it, it's good. If you don't, then you're stupid.
It wasn't just a first down, it was a touchdown, so not stupid.
No, it worked out good. When it works, people think it's a good thing to do, but it's a risk, but I believed in our guys. We had a good plan.
Thank you, Coach.
Only Mark Rick could say it that way. Well, the Buick halftime report. Reese and the guys coming up. Georgia at home leading by 10. The SEC on ESPN with Georgia leading Auburn 17-7. A matchup of the West against the East. Georgia needs to win this game and hope that Missouri would lose somewhere down the line. Welcome back to Athens, everybody. Brad Nessler with Todd Blackledge. Partner, these guys haven't been home in 42 days. They look like they've been happy with the home cooking. I think they could be up by 2 more scores had they not had some untimely penalties. But I think if you told Jeremy Pruitt 158 yards offense by Auburn, that'd be pretty good.
Well, you know, he made an interesting comment to us when we met with him yesterday. He said, we got to make them drive the ball through us. We can't give up big plays. They didn't give up big plays in that first half. To beat Auburn, you've got to limit their big plays. They had 0 pass plays over 20 yards, only 2 runs over 10 yards, and that's the formula. If you want to contain this Auburn offense, don't give up the big plays in that first half. Georgia about as good as you could do.
Todd Hurley kind of dancing to the music here before the kickoff. Carlson's got it teed up. Gurley has already taken one coast to coast tonight, but it was negated by a holding penalty. I'm sure he can't wait to get his hands on another one here to open up the 3rd quarter. High short kick. They'll keep it out of his hands this time. And it's fair caught by Quavon Hicks as we check in with Holly.
Well, Todd, there's a reason that Auburn didn't have those big pass plays in the first half, and Gus Malzahn said it's because he was too conservative. He said, I have got to open it up here in the second half. He did not like how conservative he was against this Georgia team in the first half. He said, we've also had some breakdowns on special teams. We've got to get that fixed, but look for him to open it up.
Todd, you said earlier you thought he was going to go pedal to the metal the whole time in this game, and they just haven't done that. We'll see if he's true to his word with Holly. Meanwhile, Georgia starts from its own 28-yard line. Nice play fake, bootleg throw, and complete to Bennett. Lost the ball out of bounds, but taken out after a pickup of 5. Parisi was the guy out there covering in the flat. It'll bring up 2nd down and a short. And now they get the sticks in the right spot at the 33. It will be 2nd down and 5.
Todd Gurley still with that big brace on his elbow.
Here he comes. Broken tackle. Still not down, but they run him out of bounds at the 44.
That was a little trick out of the Auburn playbook. They brought Malcolm Mitchell in motion to fake the reverse. It froze the inside linebackers a little bit, and then Gurley got it to the edge of the defense.
I know he hasn't played in a month, and I know he's got a big brace on his left arm, but you just get that feeling that one of these is going to be a home run. So Georgia from the 43-yard line. Nick Chubb out to the 49. Nick Chubb with more yardage tonight than Todd Gurley. And of course the numbers he put up in Todd's absence were remarkable, especially for a freshman. He'll get it again. Got a first down and more. And Chubb rumbles his way down inside the 40.
Quavon Hicks is doing a great job. Watch 48 get the kick out block, and Chubb goes right inside of him. Nice block by Colton Houston, the right tackle. And again, this is what Georgia likes to do. Pound on you, wear you down with their run game.
And Chubb again behind David Andrews as center.
You know, you mentioned the numbers that Chubb put up in the absence of Todd Gurley. You got to remember, too, Sony Michel had a broken shoulder from the Tennessee game, so he was out. Keith Marshall has been out for 6 games, so he did that damage and gained those yards pretty much on his own. Brendan Douglas was the only other guy available to run the football during the absence of Todd Gurley.
93 for Chubb so far. And here he comes again. And there he goes again. Chubb inside the 20, dragging Whitehead to the 10. $20 more for Nick Chubb.
Well, again, watch Quavon Hicks, number 48, get a block on the inside linebacker, Chris Frost. Quavon Hicks is doing a wonderful job as a lead blocker for Nick Chubb.
At the 11-yard line, Georgia first down.
Well, I wouldn't change the formula here.
I wouldn't either. There's Chubb's numbers on the night. Over 10 a pop. Cut back. Blasts his way down inside the 7. Jonathan Ford helped out on the stop along with Chris Frost. Chubb comes out, first guy to meet him, Todd Gurley. And the crowd will erupt for both of those. Chubb getting a breather and Gurley coming back in. Georgia can get a first down at the 1-yard line.
Well, how would you like to be a defender and say, okay, he's out, but look who's taking his place.
Yeah.
Good night.
Take out 230 pounds and put in 226. 10 straight running plays for the Bulldogs. Maxey, the fullback. Gurley, the tailback, in the eye from the 6-yard line. Gurley. Down to the 2. Third down and a couple. Third down and 1, actually. Todd Gurley's dad looking on. After a 4-week absence, hasn't been in the end zone except on that kickoff return to start the game that was negated by penalty. He's got 8 rushing scores on the season. Third down and 2. The toss to him. Gurley heading to the end zone, untouched. Touchdown, Georgia. He's been waiting a month to get that feeling. And now he's number 2 behind only Herschel with that run. And his 36th rushing touchdown. Extra point is good. 7:28 remaining in the third quarter. The big dog is back, hungry as ever, capping a 57-yard drive in 7 plays as he skips in from 3 yards out. 24-7 Georgia. Georgia Bulldogs at Sanford Stadium trying to tie up this all-time series that dates back to 1892, and they're off to a Good start here in the third quarter, 24-7 after that touchdown run by Gurley. Marshall Morgan's got it teed up. Corey Grant and Ricardo Lewis are back deep, and it'll be Lewis from the 5. Ricardo Lewis runs into traffic at the 30 and goes down there.
Now Auburn in a little bit more desperate situation.
And they're going to have to definitely do what Gus told Holly, and that's try to fire on all cylinders every time they have it, because they're down 3 scores, and Nick Marshall starts it off well with a first down run. And he's saying, go, go, go. Inside run this time, not much for Artis Payne. Meek Wilson's the first guy there, and Leonard Floyd joined the group.
Prior to tonight, I think even though Auburn lost to Mississippi State and they lost a week ago to Texas A&M, it wasn't because those defenses shut them down. It was turnovers that were the story of those games. The best defensive played against them this year was early in the year in Manhattan, Kansas by Kansas State, and they limited the big plays in that game the same way Georgia's doing tonight.
Second down and 8. Marshall goes deep on the sideline, incomplete, intended for Marcus Davis. Dominic Sanders was back in coverage. One of the guys, Jeremy Pruitt, doesn't brag up many people. He usually downplays his defensive players. He said about number 24, the freshman, I like the way that kid plays.
Yeah. Got a bright future ahead of him. He's made some plays tonight.
Nick Marshall's only hit 1 of his last 7. See if he's going to put it up here on 3rd down and 8. He's going to run for it, but he won't get anywhere near. Only about a yard gain. Leonard Floyd is there.
That's good discipline on the pass rush. They brought Damian Swan as a safety blitz on the outside, and that forced Nick Marshall up in the pocket a little bit, but good discipline by the inside rushers. And now on 4th down, Gus Malzahn feeling like he has to go for it here.
This crowd is going crazy. So is the Georgia sideline. 4th down and 8. They fake the end around. Marshall running out of time. Incomplete. The Dogs take over on downs.
Boy, they had Uzama covered, double covered. Both linebackers had him bracketed on that crossing route, anticipating that's where Nick Marshall was going to try to go for with the football.
And a defensive coordinator is fired up as the crowd at Sanford Stadium. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our ESPN crew in Athens, where Georgia leads 24-7 with just under 5 minutes to go in the 3rd.
Man, I think it's very important that Georgia stays aggressive offensively.
Todd Gurley trying to get to the edge, won't. Only got about a yard.
Even though they have control of the football game and their defense has played outstanding, all they have to do is remember last year the shoe was on the other foot, and they scored 21 points in the 4th quarter to get back into that football game. So they know this Auburn offense can explode at any time. I think they need to stay very aggressive in their mindset and in their play calling here offensively with a 17-point lead.
2nd and 13, Gurley again. This time he breaks 1 tackle, goes for 5. Makes the 3rd down a little more manageable.
I go back to, and Holly talked to Mark Richt about it at halftime. I go back to his decision to go for it on 4th and 1. I think the message he sent to his offensive line and to his offense that, hey, we can control the game with the way we run the football. I just think ever since that point, the Georgia offense and the running game has controlled things.
Here's a middle screen to Chubb. Nick Chubb, first down, 25, maybe gone. Whoa, collision at the 10. Get a license plate number. Touchdown.
No way. Well, did he step out of bounds after he ran into Jonathan Mincy? That's the question.
Might have.
Yep, right there. What a play, though.
Ball carrier stepped out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Be 1st and 10 from the 11. Please set the game clock to 2:31.
Well, it's a 27-yard gain to the 11 instead of a 38-yard touchdown.
Nick Chubb, 166 total yards from scrimmage, 118 rushing, 48 receiving. Todd Gurley's back, and Nick Chubb is still kind of saying, hey, wait a minute, I got something to add to this offense, too. Love to have you back, Todd, but
he's back in there right now with a first down at the 11-yard line. 2:15 remaining in the third quarter. Auburn brings some pressure. Chubb can't get away. Dropped at the line of scrimmage. Ben Bradley holding on for dear life.
Yeah, you got to get him before he gets going. Again, he's not as tall as Todd Gurley, so he's a little bit harder to get a clean shot on because he runs with lower pad level just naturally than Todd Gurley does. They're both thick, they're both heavy and hard to tackle, but Nick Chubb with a little bit of a lower center of gravity.
Hudson Mason, who waited his turn behind Aaron Murray all those years, his final season, with the pitch to Chubb. And again, Auburn does a really nice job to stretch it out and dump him after a gain of maybe a yard.
Yeah, Auburn's got to be thinking, if you're Ellis Johnson, their defensive coordinator, they got to be thinking, we got to keep him out of the end zone here. We have to hold him to a field goal. Keep it a 20-point game. Our offense, we know if they get on track, if they get rolling, they can score quickly.
Four wide receivers set here. Actually, Jerome, the tight end, is the slot man on the right. 3rd down and 10. Georgia can get a first down at the 1. They're going to empty the backfield. Mason throws incomplete. Intended for Malcolm Mitchell.
Not sure what Hudson was looking for there. Even if it's completion, it's short of the first down. It's short of the end zone.
So the field goal unit will come on. Marshall Morgan, who hit one earlier from 32. This will be a 28-yard attempt.
A very important stop right there by the Auburn defense on 3rd down.
With a minute to go in the 3rd quarter, Georgia tacks on 3 more. Well, they didn't get a touchdown, but we got to let you see this one more time. Nick Chubb. Hello, Jonathan Mincy. That led to the field goal. 27-7. Since the opening touchdown drive by Auburn, which was pretty impressive, they've only run 3 plays in Georgia territory. The deepest penetration was the Dogs' 43. That's how good Georgia's defense has been since that opening Auburn march. High kick and shorter. Corey Grant has to run up on it at the 10-yard line. And Grant, he got planted at the 25.
This team ran for 363 last week against A&M. Struggling tonight to get their running game going.
Ricardo Lewis on a sweep. Brought down after about a 3-yard gain by Quincy Mauger again.
Again, that's good leverage, and leverage means you don't allow them to get outside of you. The only perimeter run that they had success on was the 26-yard touchdown run by Cameron Artis-Payne in that opening drive. Other than that, Georgia has done a nice job of maintaining leverage on this Auburn run game.
Final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Corey Grant joins Marshall. He play fakes it there and throws it right back to him. And good pickup on that one of 15 for a first down to bring probably the 3rd quarter to a close. Got to move the sticks here, and Auburn goes so fast they might get one more play in. Nope, not going to happen. 3 quarters in the books between the hedges. Georgia knows they've got to win this and hope that Missouri trips along the way, and they'd be going to Atlanta for the SEC title game. They're that close.
Auburn just has not been able to generate those tonight. Very many of them against this Georgia defense.
They've done a nice job in fourth quarters this year. They're going to need another fourth quarter comeback to even be in this one. Marshall running out of time, and at the last he has to just tuck it and get what he can. Not much of a gain. Jordan Jenkins made the stop.
Jordan Jenkins has had an outstanding game tonight. He's drawn a couple holding penalties. He's put pressure on the quarterback pretty consistently. Again, the strength of this Georgia defense is their group of linebackers. Jenkins and Floyd and Wilson and Herrera.
Second down, 16. They fake it to Grant. Marshall deep in the middle again. Got it complete. Uzama, the tight end slash wide out, a pickup of 18.
Good timing by Nick Marshall on that dig route. Threw it right as he came out of his break into an opening.
Corey Grant, and Grant popped out the backside of a pileup and got 9 yards. And Auburn's down in the red zone. Marshall fires near side, incomplete. You might have seen somebody waving their hands down there. That was Jeremy Pruitt, the defensive coordinator, trying to get his defense's attention.
Third down and 12 yards here, but you're in the red zone, which means you don't have to guard depth. This is a tough place to convert if you're an offense, because you can only stretch the field so far vertically, and you're out of the end zone.
This is probably 2-down territory no matter what happens. Marshall fires, goal line broken up, intended for Coates, and it was Sanders again there defensively.
Ball a little bit behind him, but it was a quick break on the ball by Sanders. Even if the ball is thrown in the right place in front of the receiver, Sanders maybe is there for the collision. Good timing by Dominic Sanders at the point of the ball.
Gus Malzahn knows it's now or never. 4th down and 12. Can Georgia make another stop? Marshall flushed out of the pocket, throws back across his body, and it's intercepted by Herrera.
Herrera is one of the defenders on this Georgia defense that has remained friends with Nick Marshall. He comes back to haunt his buddy here with an interception by the goal line.
After that interception by Herrera, they started their own 2-yard line. Todd Gurley dives forward to the 5. And the standings, with Mississippi State having lost today to Alabama, look like this. Auburn would need a lot of help. First of all, they have to win this game and then beat Alabama and hope for a 3- or 4-way tie. And we've explained what is happening right now between Reese telling you what Missouri's doing and what we're telling you here in Athens. It would be a party night at the University of Georgia tonight if both those scores held up.
Well, that interception by Nick Marshall, I mean, really the formula for disaster for Auburn this year in their losses has been turnover.
Yep.
And it's kind of following the same script tonight.
Georgia, one of the best in the country at turnover margin at +13, which is 4th best in the land. And then, as Todd just said, Auburn, when they don't turn the ball over, they win. When they turn the ball over, they don't. And there's what we're talking about. So Georgia 3rd down. I don't expect them to be real fancy here.
Well, right now Georgia wants to take care of the football, eat clock, and let their defense, you know, continue to do its thing.
On 3rd down and 3, let's see if number 3 gets it. And he's got a big gainer. Todd Gurley all the way out to the 40.
Well, this is what happens in the 4th quarter when you're facing guys like Todd Gurley and Nick Chubb. Jonathan Jones, number 3, I want you to watch what happens to him. He's going to be singled out here with Gurley. Does he want to try to tackle that guy? Not so much. Maybe in the first quarter, not in the fourth.
Not the fourth. 31 yards for Gurley. He just keeps getting better by quarters, and as Todd said, you get a little tired of tackling him. 10.6 a carry in the fourth quarter, including 3 touchdowns. He gets a breather here, and Nick Chubb comes in for him. Mason, play action. Quavon Hicks wide open. And give the fullback tight end a little sugar.
Yeah, that's throwing the dog a bone because he's been blocking big time.
Let's check in with Holly.
Well, Todd Gurley getting better in the fourth quarter. After he sat out games last year injured, when he came back, he wasn't in shape. So they did things differently. Joe Tereshinski, the strength and conditioning coach here, every time he wasn't getting a rep in practice during his suspension this year, he would take him in and have him drive leg sleds. He said we would make him drive extra weights with his legs until he was fatigued. He had to run up and down the stadium stairs at the track and field stadium. And when he was getting carries in practice, he had to run 25, 30 extra yards. He's in better shape coming back this time.
38 yards so far in this quarter. They toss it to him. Broke 1 tackle. And he made something out of nothing again. Picked up 3.
Well, they were so excited about the 2 freshman backs that they signed this year. He being a local product, a Georgia kid, and Sony Michel, who's from Plantation, Florida, who we've not seen tonight, but who came back last week and gave him a spark. And he's kind of a different guy. They can put him in different spots and put him as a wide out. And when they get him back healthy, along with Chubb and Gurley, this is a team that is very dangerous offensively, particularly when it comes to running the football.
Sony Michel is one of those home run hitter type guys. He's got that kind of speed. They started this drive at their own 2-yard line with that interception. They've worked it inside the Auburn 30. Chubb again going wide. Still on his feet. First down.
Well, this is a defense that is a little bit fatigued now. And they're tired of tackling Todd Gurley and Nick Chubb. You're seeing guys bounce off of these backs. There's contact, but no wrap-up. That's Josh Holsey, number 15, just can't get Nick Chubb down. And again, when you keep rotating them and they're fresh, it gets harder and harder to tackle them the longer the game goes on.
And you saw Todd Gurley take the field and circling his finger as if say, Nick, I got you. Come on out, get a breather. I'll take over. First down at the 22. Run blitz. Gurley drives his way for a couple. His linemen keep on pushing. All right. That works it down inside the 17. Right here you end up with the Georgia rugby team matched up with the Auburn rugby team. I don't know if they ever did get him down. Oh, yeah, he finally landed. Second down and a long 5. Actually a long 4, a short 5. Georgia's rushing by half. Pretty impressive. This drive has taken 6 minutes. Todd Gurley, first down.
Well, the Georgia rushing game has been impressive. Now up to 273 yards on the game. And the Georgia run defense has been impressive as Auburn has been held to 142 yards.
Oh, Gurley shaking up on the play. And that will put a hush over this crowd in a hurry. And close-up shot of him, you see him wince right there and actually grabs his leg as he's going to the turf. And boy, nothing can wreck a 92,000 person party like that.
Yeah.
And hopefully just a bruise or a sprain, we don't know, but they were working on his left knee. Meanwhile, Nick Chubb has come in to take over with Georgia a first down at the 11-yard line.
Well, this drive so far, 9 runs, only 1 short pass. Here's the 10th run.
Chubb. Nick Chubb gets away from everybody to the end zone. Touchdown. What a night for that kid. Marshall Morgan in for the point after. They started their drive at their own 2-yard line following the interception. Nick Chubb caps off a 98-yard march in 11 plays with his second touchdown. This one from 11 yards out, and Auburn just can't get number 27 on the ground. All dogs right now. And a little earlier we asked you the Aflac trivia question when Georgia and Auburn got together for the first time back in 1892. It wasn't a bulldog. What was their mascot unofficially? A goat. You know, can you imagine the cheers here where they go whoop, 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 and instead they'd be going
hunker down, you hairy goat.
That's 4:51 remaining here. As the man of the night, Nick Chubb. Auburn has never failed to score at least 20 points in a game under Gus Malzahn, and they might not get another chance. Leonard Floyd smothers backup quarterback Jeremy Johnson.
Well, this is, we said this during one of the commercial breaks between ourselves. I'm not sure we've seen the Georgia defense play this well in the last couple of years.
Yeah, maybe with the exception of the shutout of Missouri, but that was a million turnovers. This is just playing solid football. Johnson down the middle, complete. That's going to be one of their bigger gains of the night. Melvin Ray on the receiving end of that one. Jeremy Pruitt's not the only new guy on that defensive side of the ball. The entire Georgia defensive coaching staff is new, and that's the first time that happened since 1964. And the only reason it happened then is because Vince was coming in as head coach, Vince Dooley, and brought a whole new group with him. This is going to be interesting. Georgia came in ranked 15th, and Tuesday night we'll find out the new rankings. This is pretty impressive. There's another fumble. Georgia's going to cover it. That'll be the third turnover of the night suffered by Auburn. This crowd is happy to have their Bulldogs back, and why not? They're putting a hurting on the Auburn Tigers and getting set to even this all-time series, each with 55 wins.
Well, Hudson Mason's night is done. Didn't have to do a whole lot other than turn around and hand it to 3 and 27.
Yep.
But Bryce Ramsey now in the ball game, backup quarterback.
He's got a good arm. Ramsey, redshirt freshman. As we check in with Holly.
Todd Gurley underwent some testing on that ligament in his left leg. He's complaining of some pain and discomfort on the outside of that knee. They did tell him something, but as teammates have come up and asked him about it, he's shaking his head as if he does not know the complete diagnosis. He's up walking around, although he's got ice on his knee. A lot of people are giving him hugs. They've said some prayers over him, but he's been smiling and in good spirits, guys. It does look optimistic right now, but of course they will evaluate it further tomorrow.
He's not limping as much now either, Holly, as he heads down the tunnel and into the locker room with this one in hand. And Douglas, nice job bouncing off, picking up positive yardage, and that should just about do it. Well, Georgia goes to 6-2. Their hopes for a trip to Atlanta for the SEC title game very much alive. They just need some help somewhere along the line. Tonight their help came in the form of the return of Todd Gurley, a great defensive performance, and then Nick Chubb. Pretty resounding victory for the Dogs. Auburn had a 70-yard touchdown drive on the first possession and held scoreless the last 55 minutes as we go down to Holly.
Well, Coach, everyone was so excited about Todd Gurley coming back, but the 1-2 punch of him and Nick Chubb were devastating. What did you see from those guys tonight?
Well, they're just big physical backs. We've been blocking well, giving them some space to get started, and once they start going downhill a little bit, it's hard to take them down.
This Auburn offense is so hard for everybody to stop. What was it about your defense tonight that gave them such a terrific performance?
You know what? They just played hard. They did what the coaches asked them to do. I'm sure Jeremy's familiarity with them, playing them last year, helped to a certain degree, but the guys had to execute. They did a great job, and I'm just thankful and praise God.
It's your final SEC game. What does this say about your senior quarterback, Hudson Mason, who stuck around, didn't transfer, that there's still a chance he could lead his team to Atlanta?
Well, he did a good job. I'll tell you what, if we'd have caught the ball earlier, he was really hot, and I think we'd have done even better in the passing game. But Hudson came back or stayed to try to win a championship, and hopefully we'll get that chance.
Missouri's down right now, but we'll keep you posted, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, their SEC season, as Holly said, is over. They've got Charleston Southern, the SEC Network, and then Georgia Tech in Atlanta, which will be a dandy when those two get together as well. 34-7, the final from Athens. Georgia goes to 8-2, 6-2 in the SEC. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, our entire ESPN crew, Brad Nessler, Between the Hedges. Good night.